Khanna, a Democrat who represents portions of Northern California's Silicon Valley and the East Bay in the House of Representatives, is considering a possible Senate bid. In this conversation with Sunita Sorabji, Khanna says he is still mulling over the run and would announce a decision in early April. This is a New India Abroad video.
You're missing all the fabulous snow on Mission Peak. It's just absolutely gorgeous.
I heard.
Yeah. So let's get the tough questions out of the way and then head on to the India caucus. Are you planning a run for Senate, and when will you announce, and what will inform that decision?
Well, I said I'll make a decision by the first week of April. I have a lot of respect for Barbara Lee, who are getting in the race. Obviously, something that I will consider. But I'm looking at the race, talking to people, and we'll make a decision by early April.
Yeah, if you do run, you just brought up Barbara Lee, who is one of the most progressive members of Congress. How do you feel as a fellow progressive running against someone like Congresswoman Lee?
Well, that's why I said that will weigh heavily in my consideration. I just want to make sure that she has a strong campaign, and we'll be able to have the resources and campaign structure to win. And if I feel by the end of this month that she's put that together, that'll weigh heavily on what I decide.
Yeah, absolutely. So what informed your decision to run, to consider a run?
Well, I've had a lot of people, especially the Bernie Sanders base around the state, approach me and say that I've got good policies on Medicare for all, on free public college, on technology jobs and creating those jobs. So just interest from people more than anything else.
Fantastic. You mentioned Bernie Sanders. There's been a lot of discussion amongst Democrats about Biden running for second term. You supported and campaigned for Senator Sanders in 2020. Would you encourage him to run in 2024?
Well, I support President Biden. He's the incumbent president. He's had a successful term. If he doesn't run, I said I'd be very enthusiastic for Bernie Sanders and would back him, but I expect the president to run.
Okay. If the president does run, you would not support a Sanders run?
No, and I don't think Sanders would run against the sitting president.
Absolutely. So moving on to the House India Caucus, congratulations, first of all, on being named co-chair of the caucus. Were you actively pursuing that role, and why were you pursuing that role?
I was actively pursuing it. I'm very passionate about the U.S.-India relationship. I thought we could inspire and mobilize the diaspora to support a closer relationship, and that's something I will do as chair of the caucus. And I wanted to work to strengthen the military relationship, strengthen the economic relationship, strengthen the relationship with our educational institutions, with our work on climate. It's just a place I feel like I can make a difference.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Are you still involved with the Pakistani American Congressional Caucus? I know you came under some flack for that.
Well, I suppose it's technically still a member of these caucuses. Just invite you when there's someone who's visiting, and if there were had a state, I'm sure I would show up, as a lot of people are members of multiple caucuses. But I think people know that I care about strengthening the U.S.-India relationship and also peace in the region.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. What do you hope to bring to this role? What are some concrete pieces that you hope to bring to this role? Because, as you know, at this point, the House India Caucus is its achievements have largely been around getting the Diwali stamp and getting members of Congress to recognize Diwali. So, how do you hope to work beyond that, if at all?
Well, I want to increase the membership of the caucus, which is important when we have votes. You know, I had a vote last year on my amendment to waive CAATSA sanctions from India that passed with 300 some members of Congress. The stronger the India caucus is, the more that can make a difference on votes concerning India. I want to have a summit where I involve the Indian American diaspora. They haven't been as involved on strengthening the economic relationship, the cultural relationship, the technology relationship. And I want to try to work on this vexing issue of moving India away from the Soviet Union towards the United States on defense. It's a tough issue because the Soviets have cheaper weapons. The Soviets also allow India to manufacture it domestically. We have export controls, understandably. Our weapons cost more, but are more effective. So I want to work with the administration to make progress on that issue.
Absolutely. I think you also serve on the new China caucus as well. What do you expect your role will be there? And given the current developments, how do you think our relationship to China needs to change?
I believe I just led a delegation to Taiwan. We need to make sure that we're increasing the defense capability of Taiwan. We need to make sure we're increasing the economic relationship, but at the same time, we need to affirm the one China policy, which is a status quo, not to be disrupted by non-peaceful means. And that's what I'll be advocating for from the China Select Committee.
Absolutely. To go back to the House India Caucus, have you met? You have been critical of the Modi administration on several key issues. One is your non-support for the Citizenship Amendment Act, and also the handling of Jammu and Kashmir. Have you met with Prime Minister Modi, and are you still critical of both of those pieces of legislation, for lack of a better word?
Well, I have, of course, been supportive of generally the U.S.-India relationship, as evidenced by my amendment last year that said India shouldn't be subject to CAATSA sanctions and passed it in a 300-plus vote. But I have spoken out for pluralism and criticized any move that would grant citizenship faster based on a particular faith. I think that's opposed to the ideals of Gandhi and Nehru. Now, what I've said on Kashmir is that's an internal matter for India, and I haven't taken a position in opposition to the Rule 370. I've said that's an Indian matter, internal matter for Indian democracy, but that they should keep the internet open and make sure that it's consistent with what our State Department has gone through. I mean, if I lead a delegation to India, of course, I'll be honored to meet with the Indian Prime Minister and all of the leaders, as I would going to any country. If I went to China, I might meet with Xi Jinping if he were to meet. But I would be candid in places where I disagree.
Absolutely. Has Prime Minister Modi or any of his administration reached out to you on your new role and attempted to start a relationship?
Not the Prime Minister directly, but the ambassador has, and he conveyed that the Prime Minister and his ministers are aware and they're proud that an Indian American is leading this caucus.
That's fantastic. You are the second Indian American to lead the caucus, correct?
Correct. Ami Bera led it in 2015, and I'm the first one to lead it since then, and leading it now at a time, though, where the U.S.-India relationship is really a priority.
Absolutely. Do you have anything that you want to add to the conversation?
I would just say that the strategic relationship with India is arguably one of the most important of the 21st century, to make sure that the United States has a strong presence in Asia, to make sure that we're supporting democracy, to make sure that there's peace in that region. So I really feel lucky to be in this role.
Thank you. Thank you for taking the time, and hope to see you soon again.
Oh, great. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sunita.